the way the West Asia war is unfolding at this point, what really is going to be the next chapter in this war? For a little more, Major General K.K. Sinha, Defence and Strategy expert, joining us, Air Commodore Ashminder Singh Bahal, Defence and Strategic expert, also Dr. Zakir Hussain, Middle East Affairs expert, ex-research fellow, Indian Council of World Affairs, ICWA. We also have Itai McCoy, non-resident senior fellow, N7 Initiative, the Atlantic Council, live from Haifa. Thanks very much, all of you. Dr. Zakir Hussain, the last time I remember you were upset I did not come to you early on, but I'll start with you today. Why don't you give us your take on the Middle East, whether they're going to respond or not? We are looking very patiently to see if the Middle East Arab states who've been attacked will actually formally use ammunition to respond, or is it just going to be a message of dissent that they've already given, but they're going to look spineless doing that, not responding to such harsh onslaught from Iran?
People are expecting that they are going to form a coalition like what they did during 1990 Gulf War against Saddam Hussein. But Iran has taken initiative to increase the cost, to expand the cost of joining the coalition by hitting Ras Laffan of Qatar's largest LNG terminal and Ras Tanura of Aramco refinery. And again, in the first round, Iran has also targeted Dubai. This is nothing but increasing the cost of war through the region. And if it goes more, then it will increase the cost of war to the world by doing something with Hormuz. We can dismiss that it cannot do, but for time being, it is in capacity to do that. And overall, that what we find that how 3 F-15 fighters, Eagle fighters, were shot down. One is okay for in friendly fire. 2 is okay, but 3, we have to accept something is going wrong here. And third, we also find that more visuals are coming, more videos are coming of striking Israel. And we have also got news whether Netanyahu has met the same fate of Ayatollah Khamenei or not. It is not clear, but Iran has targeted the Prime Minister Netanyahu's house, office. So we all know that Iran is a limited one. It has limited capacity, but it has the capacity to expand the cost of war. And it is, I think that more damages are going to happen in Iran, but the war will not stop at the call of President Trump or Netanyahu. It will continue. This is my statement and what I feel. Let them do. Yeah.
Major General K.K. Sinha, what's your take on this? Donald Trump saying preemptive strike, and he's given this very bold 6-minute speech, and every word he said in that almost seems like as if he's the victim. That I was targeted, he almost got me, but before that I got him. When did this happen? Was the attack on him during the 2024 elections done? Was Iran behind that attack? Do we have any intelligence that suggests that?
Good evening, Nabila. Jahan. You have asked me this particular operations when we say the Operation Epic Fury or before that your Roaring Lion. We can't start. That is not the start point. The start point, you just take it back from transatlantic area when the war shifted to Mediterranean, basically on 7th October 2023. Everything is happening the extension of that. Iran did a biggest strategic mistake that time, thinking that there is an opportune movement. And I think the behest of maybe Russia and China, they thought that they will be able to shift it because they thought that the war which will finally move to 2 reasons, because they are the continuation. We can't see in the gaps. It might go to Indo-Pacific, it might go to Arctic also is the reason. That is the way the world is moving. Now, coming back to this operations, which has happened on 28th of this last month, this why they are calling it a preemptive strike. See, in America, when it happened in June last year, if you remember, 12 days war and, midnight hammer happened. But that time they didn't go for this leadership because the Russians have given the deadline that, no way you can touch them. But I think America got slightly, especially Donald Trump, he got some sense when he did it with Venezuela, and he started thinking that they can do it, and that's the pattern remains same. The USS Abraham Lincoln gravitating to the Arabic Sea, and thereafter USS Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford was supposed to join USS Abraham Lincoln, but they are not able to do it. They are still in the Mediterranean somewhere. I hope docking near Haifa, I believe, and they are not. They do not have at the confidence to move that. If that would have moved, they would have, to a certain extent, they would have achieved what they did it with Venezuela, blocking, because that has got EW capability. No other, carrier group has got that, it has got. And they are not able to do operationally. They thought, and there was a, talk going on, 3 rounds of talk, and they got it by design. Samkani, who used to be earlier defense minister, he used to part of this, and they got it that they will be meeting at one place and they will eliminate. They were able to eliminate Ayatollah Ali Khamenei along with the 48 top leaders. And if you take it today, the naval chief is also been taken out. You were actually brought out in your this thing, Ali Raja Arafi, who was declared the 3 members to look after. He has been killed. So America is claiming that higher defense of war, which gives you direction, strategic at operational level. Not I'm talking about a tactical level. You do it when you have got some directions of war. So I believe it is all localized now, free for all, desperation, and they have a lot of capability. The capability you have seen, they were able to hit about 11 of these, bases. They have extended right up to Cyprus. They have gone, and it is all done by the localized commander. They had the target list. They have got. They know the ability. They have got everything. 8-figure grid references how to go about it, and they are. You have to take it that they are missile power and they are drone power. Drone is 10,000 drone, kamikaze drone, proven in the battlefield. They have got. Whether they will be taken out, by this strike, first day strike. This was absolutely interface because Mossad and CIA is also on ground. They are being supported by a group of people, including IRGC. There are some of them, I don't want to take the name because we all know who are a little bit compromised because it is in the public domain. That has happened for last 1.5 years. Then the president Raisi, he was also taken out along with the foreign minister that time. It was a absolutely sabotage thing. Of course, it was given that is a after crash which has taken place. So these are the extension. Now, if you ask me, I will because I become long. See what has happened. I think they have gone somewhere in wrong in listening the people who has got a military sense. See, General Daniel Caney, who is the Joint Chief of Staff, he said, if you will go this way, the likely chances that we will get involved for a longer period, and longer period will also give it that in the blocking of Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb. That he has very clear, categorically told, and he's the Joint Chief of Staff, was given to go ahead in Venezuela. And probably, I think he's right. Because the way the things are happening now, including Abraham Lincoln has now 4 missiles were fired, and these are anti-ship missiles were fired on it. We do not know. There is a mystery. It has fallen back to the second, phase line, and USS Gerald Ford is not able to come to this. Now, 3 F-15, first time in the history of F-15 Eagle. I think Bahal will be able to touch it much more.
More or less, from what I hear from you, what I gather on the surface of this all is that Iran is capable.
Yeah, But the endurance is, uh, because they have got, if they get exhausted with the missiles,
No,
say,
how long are they going to
after some
last? I
time.
mean, if Israel and US continued in this fashion, in fact, they're still striking, I hear, in the latest, Tehran looks completely devastated. Visuals are coming from the latest visuals that are coming. Again, these are all visuals that we can't corroborate entirely, but yet strong, credible sources sharing some videos showing Tehran completely obliterated. Uh, how long will Iran go
Tehran
on
is
then?
a, see, Tehran
Tehran
is a,
particularly.
nerve center. But there are 5 cities. Those are drone cities, missile cities, underground, deep inside. If America will able to, or Israel will able to take it out, 3,000 targets. They have suppressed the AD, air defense. They are able to suppress it. That's why they have got the freedom of action with the total air superiority. But the point is whether they will able to take out the launcher. These are well rehearsed, well this thing targeted with, because
So you're
every
saying they
missile
have
has
their
got a.
ammunition. Their ammunition is still parked and they have a lot of life left in them. Okay.
So, and the determination is there. They are not going to
Yeah,
give
no,
up.
this is a do
That
or die for
calculation
them,
that, that.
This is a do or die, it's clear. But my question is, why would, what was diplomatic talks, diplomacy completely dead? Was there no way to talk this out? I just wonder if there was a way and Khamenei opted not to. I don't know if what talks between he and Trump had. The Iranian regime and the US regime were in talks just before the war struck. So where did that diplomacy die so quickly? Never expected something like this. But before I come to Air Commodore, let me go to Itai. Itai, what's your take on the current scenario? How long do you believe that Israel is going to continue these attacks with US on Iran? And what's the current situation as we know?
So this really depends, I think, on a few issues. One of them also what happens in Iran on the ground. The US and Israel have a plan of targets that they've been planning to strike. The nuclear that you just mentioned is just one facet of the problem with Iran. We saw their ICBM, the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, spring into action, firing as far as Cyprus. Remember, Cyprus is a member of the European Union. It's war on Europe, and it means that the ICBMs are a real threat. So Trump was less worried about the nuclear. The nuclear was hit hardly in the 12-day war, and I don't think that was the main concern of Trump. And the fact is that Iran refused to negotiate the ICBM program, and also Trump had other bigger fish to fry. There are many big geopolitical things at play here. Remember that under sanctions, Iran is selling oil cheaply to China. That is not something that sits well with Trump. Remember that there are other big regional things happening in the China area, which Trump has to look out for and deter. And therefore, I think there are many, many reasons behind this. But in the end, what Trump would like to see, as well as Israel, is a change of regime. But that is again up to the people of Iran. And we see this time they've been targeting targets such as the besieged and other targets which are internal policing targets, in hope that the people of Iran, when they do hit the streets this time, and unlike what happened a few months ago, will be able to overturn the regime. Again, it's not a question of hitting off the head of a country, because there are other leaders, and there's a wide variety of leaders possible, and therefore what Trump would really like to see is a change of regime, but that will only happen if the people on the street. So therefore, I believe we're going to see another several days of intensive strikes to take out the main targets. But after that, there will have to be some kind of break to allow the Iranians to take to the streets and complete what they may want to do. That is entirely up to them. So that is my more or less outlook. A few more days of intensive strikes, and then we will see some kind of break, most likely.
Okay. Air Commodore, over to you on that. My question was, first of all, the 3 fighter jets being downed, US calling it a friendly fight. I don't know, it seems a little unsettling and unbelievable. Also about diplomacy, has diplomacy completely died? What happened in those the few rounds of talks Khamenei and Trump had, and then or his regime and Trump had, and And just a day later, we see this war being launched, and their direct attack was Khamenei. How did things turn so swiftly and fast? What do you think happened here?
Navila, thank you very much for inviting me to this August eminent co-panelists of mine who are here with me. First thing I would say is that what Trump had given the conditions were four primarily. The first one was no nuclear weapons, and the second was no enrichment. Now, I think more often than not, I think there was a general understanding, and that is why the Iranian side had said that there were guidelines that had been agreed to, and they were also willing to reduce the enrichment percentage. If you remember, when Trump walked out of the nuclear deal in 2018, which was P5+1, at that period of time, the enrichment was only up to 3.67%. So, first of all, the mistake actually took right at that time, and IAEA inspections were going on. After Trump walked out of the deal and imposed sanctions on Iran, then enrichment process got a boost, and today they have over 440 kilograms of enriched uranium, which is more than 60% enriched. So I think the first fault itself lay with President Trump in his first term. The second thing is that when he gave the third condition, that is limiting the range of the missiles to 300 kilometers and not having any long range missiles, I think it's the sovereignty question of every country to defend itself, especially when Iran is a Shia majority country and all around it are Sunni majority countries, except for Lebanon and Yemen. So when we are looking at an entire Middle East where Shia is surrounded by Sunni, and both of them have their own individual differences with respect to each other, both at the global level as well as at the religious level. So when we are looking at that, Iran would have to have its own defenses strong, and it would never agree, and whichever regime may be there in Iran, no regime will agree to this particular condition. And last was not allowing the proxies to take any front line. Now, probably there could be some deal which could have worked out had the negotiations continued. But what I personally feel is that President Trump, along with Mr. Netanyahu, both of them have taken this war as a personal challenge, as a personal war, that they have to bring about a regime change after killing the supreme leader. And when we are looking at killing this supreme leader Khamenei, now, in fact, there is no end state which is very clear, and there is no exit strategy which is very clear, which is appearing to me. Any war planning or military strategy that is devised from the political goals that are given, there is a proper end state. For example, in India, 1971 war, the end state was very clear: liberation of Bangladesh. And or in the case of Kargil war, the end state was very clear: eviction of those who had intruded inside Kargil Dras sectors. So Kargil Dras and Batalik sectors. So what I want to highlight to you is that there is no clarity on an exit strategy, and that is the reason why their focus initially was on attacking the political leaders and the military leaders. Hence Khamenei, and now we are talking of Ayatollah Arafi, who has also apparently been attacked. So we are looking at a continuous spree of killing the leaders, whoever is announced, and continue to kill them, except those who are hiding in bunkers. Remember one thing here. And there is a complete underground network of tunnels and virtually like cities where the drones and missiles have been hidden, the launchers are placed, as well as place where the senior leadership can hide. Now, why they got killed is primarily because of the extremely good intelligence. This factor never came up. Mossad and CIA have combined a budget of $120 billion. If you look at Mossad, CIA, military intelligence, national intelligence, and the different intelligence agencies, and you can see the quantum from space intelligence to technical, which means communication intelligence, you're monitoring the calls, and towards in the end, when we are looking at human intelligence, especially when there is significant population of Yahudis in Iran itself. So now we are coming into the second level of fight where large number of
Air
leaders have
Commodore,
been... just a minute.
I suppose Itai, Itai, I know you're running out of time, and I was aware of that. But a quick word before you leave. Could you tell us what's the damage on Israel, and an honest answer on what really happened? How far has Israel borne the brunt of this act?
So, as opposed to the Iranian propaganda, most targets that were hit were civilian targets. A big tragedy in a city called Beit Shemesh in the Judean hills, not far from Jerusalem, where 9 people were killed. 3 of them, 3 children of the same family that were killed, 3 siblings. Also, some people severely wounded down south in Beersheba, the capital of the Negev. We've also seen shrapnel falling in Palestinian cities. Again, only mild injuries there as far as we know. Also, a Philippine foreign worker who was assisting an elderly lady was killed in a direct hit in Tel Aviv. So again, the terrorist regime, which has been spreading terrorism, has been targeting civilians, sadly with some success.
Itai, is Israel any regretful of the civilian casualties in Iran? 153 young girls who died in a school due to Israel's attack. 550 civilians in total. We hear the numbers could be more.
Again, part of propaganda, specifically the girls' school, and the video footage shows it, is a misfire of the Iranian regime. There's video footage that shows it. It's been approved by the Western countries. But every life lost is a tragedy. There have been many options for the Iranian regime to stop. Remember, the Iranian regime has orchestrated attacks on Israel for the last 20 years, has built Hezbollah, a full army of tens of thousands of warriors who fought several wars with Israel. They've funded Hamas, who raided and killed partygoers and civilians in southern Israel and tried to conquer southern Israel. They fund the Houthis, who have been firing missiles indiscriminately both at Israeli cities, civilian cities, and firing at the commercial ships along the Yemen Bay. So it is sad, and every life lost is a tragedy, and it can stop tomorrow. Israel has never been hell-bent and hasn't had signs in the main cities saying when it's going to annihilate Iran, which Iran has had against Israel. So it's all very sad, but you have to remember that when there's a perpetrator that is killing civilians and been for the last 24 years killing civilians around the world, not only in Israel, attacks in Argentina, attacks in other places, in Germany, all Iranian orchestrated, and this has to stop. The sooner it stops, the better for the Iranian people and for the entire world.
Would you be happy if there's a regime change? Is that what you're mulling, Israel's aim and intention? Because with the way the Operation Fury and Roaring Lion is going about, it seems like you're permanently killing all defense capabilities of Iran. So now Iran is toothless. If you continue, it will be crippled in the days to come. If you are successful in that, then what are you looking at? Iran to have a new regime that's friendly with Israel?
I actually don't care if they're friendly with Israel, but if they're not hostile to Israel and the West, because remember, Israel is a small Satan. The US was the big Satan. US flags were being burnt as rituals there. So Israel was just a little Satan by that regime. Again, I'm not telling Iranians if they have to like us or not to like us, or to be friendly with us or not. We were very friendly in the 70s. Many of the waterworks still functional in Iran were built by Israeli companies in the 70s. But that is not the question. We just don't want to go to war every few years with a regime that is hell-bent on destroying us. We've seen coups happen in other countries. I've researched this deeply in Africa and in the Middle East. And there's a big difference between Iran and what happened in Syria or Libya or Iraq or other African countries under coup. And I believe
but there were protests that were happening all over, and people who condemn this strike and the killing of Khamenei says, you've killed one Khamenei, hundreds will erupt. Now, what about Iran's proxies, Hezbollah and the rest? How do you believe that Israel is going to be continue combating them, and for how long? Your
So,
terror
that's one
unleashes
of the
terror,
reasons.
terror multiplies terror.
That's one of the reasons we want a regime change, because in the end, billions of dollars were funding these proxies of Iran. If I was an Iranian, I would be very angry that my tax money is going to pay people in Lebanon to fight Israel, because I think the tax money should have gone to make sure that there's enough water for the Iranians, which there isn't, and for other causes. So I would be very cross as an Iranian, and that's why the Iranians took the streets until thousands were killed by their own regime just several weeks ago.
Iranians took the street because they felt suffocated, suppressed. The Islamic regime was a little too intense. I mean, the imposition of a lot of restrictions, women particularly coming to the streets.
And no water, which is also what started the Syrian civil war 12 years ago.
Yeah.
A shortage of water and other essentials.
And the economy
again,
crashing this time, yeah.
If the money spent on arming the Houthis and the Hezbollah and the Hamas was spent internally, I think the Iranians would have been much happier. So certainly, I think that a regime change would be a blessing. It's up to the Iranian people in the end. That's not something that we can dictate for them.
No, so now, who dictates it? I mean, how do you think this is going to pan out? Okay, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I know you, if you're in a rush, you are most welcome to stay. Please do if you can. But Air Commodore,
I do have to go. I'm sorry.
Right, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Air Commodore, your take on that? That Iran has been menacing in West Asia, and they've got to be taught a lesson, and they were. That's where Israel comes from. And Israel is, in survival mode forever, right? Like, they've always been fighting these elements, these terror proxies, and it's true. They fought Hezbollah, they fought the Houthis, and how long could you also keep worrying for the safety of your people? And they believe the root cause is Iran. And finish off the supreme leader once and for all, because they were friendly with the previous regime of Iran. So a new regime comes, possibly things should settle.
There is nothing that can deny the fact that any amount of any type of terrorism is incorrect.
True.
So when we talk of whether it comes from Hamas, Hezbollah, or whether it comes from the Houthis or from the ISIS, any level of terrorism, any type of terrorism is highly condemnable. But I come to the second aspect. We have to look at a solution here, And when we are looking at solutions, if we take hardline situations, look at Iran. Iran has an institutionalized way of functioning where there is a supreme leader, there is assembly of experts who are 88 in number, who select a cleric to be the supreme leader. Then there is a parliament which is elected for 4 years, and that is under the control of guardian of council, which has got another 12 members who are looking whether the parliament is running in the direction where the religious clerics want them to go. So what I'm trying to say is they are always course correcting and aligning them. Now, this is the kind of system. If you go back to 1979, when there was a revolution against the Shah itself, why was it for? It was for a too quick a modernization, which the Iranian society was not ready for. Secondly, corruption. Thirdly, high cost of living at that period of time also, and a undemocratic leadership. So when we are looking at similar things happening later, so the Iranian society, we have to look at the culture in which the Iranian society lives. They don't want too much of modernization. The Gen Z that we talk of, who came to the streets, is essentially about 15 to 20% only. And that Gen Z belongs to the urban areas. You go to the rural areas and you find the same age group people will never rise against Khamenei, are in total love with Khamenei, and Khamenei is treated like a religious leader.
But then again, it's their internal problem, right? That's also a problem, but it's their internal problem. Yeah.
Now, if you want to solve a problem, if you do not want to take into consideration the insecurities of every party, and you are hell-bent on having extreme ends, okay, we'll start killing anybody who comes in from the type of religious fanatism that is shown over there. We are going to kill him. No, that's going to be no solution. The world, if it's like that, I don't like President X, I'll go there, I'll lift him up from his palace, I'll bring him here and keep him as a prisoner and try him for drug charges. And afterwards, when the other regime takes over, that is the deputy took over, and there is no action against the drug cartels at all after that. So many months have passed. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you want a solution, if you really want a solution, there has to be a flexibility. Yes, there should be certain key points. No proxies. I fully agree with that. Yes, there should be a key point. No nuclear weapons and enrichment beyond a certain stage so that they can use it for their electricity and peaceful purposes. Yes, do it. But if you say, no, I'm not going to let any leader, unless my puppet comes in there, who is another Reza Pahlavi, who has never seen governance, who doesn't know politics at all, who has never lived the hard life in Iran where you have shortage of everything, and you want him to come and rule and become like the Shah again, how is he going to last? And other people, really, the large number of people there in Iran, will they accept him? We have to understand that if you have to find a solution, flexibility has to be shown by both sides. What we need is statesmen today taking over and not hardliners. What we are looking at is extremely rightist or extremely leftist elements, but we
Think
have
about
very
it.
few people who
Iran,
think of humanity.
Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei, under his leadership, such sweeping humanitarian violations were carried out. You had thousands, some record
Exactly.
reports say 20,000 odd people, protesters who came out were killed. I mean, that needs international intervention, right? That needs a little global
I
intervention.
agree with you. But I want to say here one thing. How many times have you condemned the 75 to 80,000 Gaza's Palestinians who have been killed,
Oh yeah,
who are children
absolutely,
with 1 day
absolutely,
old?
absolutely.
Who has
No,
said
but
that? Ma'am,
that's exactly
no,
the
and
US has
why
been
isn't
selectively
action
condemning.
taken?
US has
And
been
also,
selectively
why
condemning.
those exactly, there is no selective condemning. Both are at fault. See, you cannot be inhuman and expect humanity from somebody else. Every time you kill innocents, you are making more terrorists. So, where we have to get into is that we have to have statesmen who can mediate. And those statesmen must bring out these particular issues, and both sides, the hardliners, must
But
go.
just
And
imagine, I mean, any one civilian speaking up against the regime would be, jailed and probably killed in jail. That was a story that would come out, more often than not, about how ruthless and brutal the Iranian regime is to any voice of dissent.
Absolutely. But tell me one thing. If 75% of the population or 70% of the population is happy with that, what can you and I do about it?
Now
See,
either
there
you're
is a
happy or
culture.
you're scared,
No,
right?
let me.
I don't know about how happy people are, but people are scared. That's
No,
how.
that is not correct. Basically, I don't know why we are discussing. You allowed one person to say his all things crap, everything farce and lies, and we were dumbing and listening all these things. This is not good. You should have given chance to someone of these two to question that time.
Mr.
No,
Hussain,
no,
I
no,
have
no,
given
no, no, no,
ample
no, no.
opportunity for all of you to
No,
speak, so I'm
no,
not
no,
going
no,
to
no.
take your accusation again. Please make your point.
Itai has said what he wanted,
And
and
you are
you
also
gave
getting a
time.
chance
No,
to
no,
say.
I feel that I am fool sitting here.
You felt a fool
I want
last
to.
time also.
I am fool. I am
You
fool.
you
No,
feel
I
like a
am
fool every
to.
time you're sitting.
These two people are also fool. I think that they didn't get chance to listen his crap, his lies.
We've given you ample opportunity.
For
I'd
whom
request
we
you
are
to
discussing, for whom
stop
we
with
are
the
discussing, for our
stop.
public, for you are divided into two with Iran, with America, with some sentiments of human rights.
Mr. Zakir,
No, no, not Mr. Zaki. This is
nobody
not.
wants to hear your personal opinions. We don't want your
Coordinated this,
personal
no,
emotions here. I don't want
no,
to hear
not
your
emotion.
personal
If you
emotions. If you want
had
to get to the point,
coordinated this
please do.
program well,
Get
it
to
would
the
have
point,
given a
please
good
do.
time. You have not
I'm
got
not
it.
interested in listening to your personal
You are not
emotions.
professional.
Nobody
You are
wants your
not
personal.
professional.
You
You
can
are
leave.
destroying the channel.
You can
are
leave.
destroying the channel.
I'll be
You are
happy if
destroying
you
the
leave
channel.
then. Thank you.
No, you are
can
destroying
leave
the
then.
channel.
You can leave. All right. Major, would you want to come in on that? Major General K.K. Sinha?
Yeah. Look, Nabila, the point is that we are taking it from one part of the history and discussing it. We have to understand this theoretic regime which has come, theology actually doesn't solve everything. It came through a Islamic revolution. After that, they have a system which they create a IRGC. They have got also Army, Navy, Air Force, which is sidelined. Then they have got Bajit Force, which is much more. See, these are a regime which has brought a particular set. The problem lies over there that Iran has got too much of oil. And oil has been, if you see before, Shah of Iran period, before that, in 53, used to be a very democratic state, absolutely thrown that time. Shah was brought, and that time, basically, the Britishers, they were controlling. I believe, this is called, the oil company of British, they were looking after. Now America wants to come it over there. They want to have oil is the problem. And the second thing which has come, the problem lies is that Islamic revolution too much, which the people are not. I think.
So that's what it's a heady mix of a very authoritarian Islamic regime where the people are unhappy. Some of you are saying it's the large population is happy. I don't believe the large population is happy because I've done several reports.
Like just give me 1 second. I will say.
Yeah.
See, 8.56 crore people stays over there. You take it. Women are not happy. Maybe one or two, which you can see, a handful of them. They are not happy. Gen Z is not happy. The amount of sanction which they have got, they would have got away from this. But if you won't start doing, the complete terrorism, you see what's happening in Syria, what happened in Iraq thereafter, Hezbollah, Qatar Hezbollah. This is, Hamas, Houthi. This is exactly, they want to have. And idea is what? They want to become, a Khalifa of Muslim world. That Shia-Sunni divide. Abraham, if we see Abraham Accord, which was signed, it was basically to accommodate, bring everyone in peace. Till that time, it was okay. But
as I'm short on
now,
time, Major General,
the way the Iran has done it, especially after 2023, the way they have snatched, there was nothing wrong in this area. They were doing it. It was building up. But, axis of resistance, General Qasim Soleimani, those that, the Quds forces, which are part of IRGC, you will start doing it. It has to go. It has to. That's why, if you heard the Prime Minister speaking to the Israeli parliament, absolutely 1.4, he said 140 crore people of India is, standing with Israel. What they did it on 7th October 2023. Absolutely, that is the time. It has start point is this. Now we can't blame because military way of doing things are like this. This is the Israel way of doing it.
No, I feel it's an overreach. It's an absolute overreach by Iran, by US and Iran. So I beg your pardon, by US and Israel. Them going all out and attacking Iran was an absolute overreach.
Is wrong. I
it's
agree
wrong.
with you. I totally agree with you. The overreach.
Yeah.
Overreach is there when you say you will not have a missile.
So there are 100 problems with Iran. We agree, but US and Israel have completely violated international law and have attacked Iran in a way where there's no concept of diplomacy left then. In that case, from the way this has happened, I think US and Israel are completely on the wrong foot. We've agreed to it. I think the world by and large agrees to this. But that's what you're nitpicking. US is nitpicking, saying he tried to attack me, so I attacked him before that. He's killing his people, so we killed him. Excuses that are very visible.
Nabila, idea is to have the the oil of Iran.
That is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. On that note, sir, thank you very much. That's all I have time for. I really appreciate you joining me here tonight.